And then, in our darkest hour, when all hope was lost, Doofy returned to bestow upon us episode 92 of the Talk Through of Shiren, the Wanderer. Hey, it's me, Doofy. The rumors of my death were greatly exaggerated. Actually, they were not greatly exaggerated because the last time I was in Faye's final puzzle, I did die. So, hello. I'm back after my month-long hiatus to pick up an Air Slayer immediately. That's a good initial weapon pickup. I guess I should explain. And some arrows, nice. I should explain where I have been. You might think from my last episode, or the episode I did in Bufu's Cave, that I was off repairing the house I bought. But unfortunately that is not the case. The sellers of that enormous palace by the beach, or by the ocean, countered, and I convinced myself that I could afford it. I was like, alright, just gonna have to tighten your belt, Doofy, but you can afford this, you can do this. And then just like a couple days before I was gonna sign, I had a moment of clarity in the morning. Usually you think you're clearest right in the morning after you get up. At least I do. Maybe you're not a morning person. But I woke up, and just like the first thing I thought of when I got out of bed was, I cannot afford this house. And just like a huge weight lifted off me. So I pulled out at the last second, and I did not buy the enormous mansion that needed work, because I realized it was like I would have been able, actually I would not have been able to afford it. No matter what I did, I would be in the hole every month, and that's just not a comfortable place to be. I mean, I saved up a lot of money, but I want to have some fun in my life. I don't want to not do anything and just be nervous all the time about, am I going to make it through the next month financially? I know there's some people forced to live that way month to month, but luckily I have never had to do so, and I wasn't about to start. So I decided to buy a much more humble second property. I bought a condo near a nice lake, near a park. Hopefully my dad will come and see me. It's close to where my dad lives, so I can see him more often. And I will fix it up first before I jump straight into more ambitious projects. And because it's a lot cheaper, at least I'll have some money left over to have some fun and save a little for retirement. I realized that power-up scroll. Usually I would wait until I had a shield, but I just had a good feeling about those scrolls, and my good feeling was not rewarded. I was hoping that one of them would be a monster scroll. I realized that that whole house buying escapade was kind of like a midlife crisis. And once again, Shiren the Wanderer and my regular life have kind of weirdly aligned. Because this is kind of the midpoint of the talk through too, and I was in a little bit of a crisis there. Buttersquid239 asks me in the comments what I plan to do when I finish the talk through, and it's kind of at a point where it was feeling like a routine. Plus the weather was nice. The spring night is really nice here near DC, and the summer is all gross and humid, and I don't like to go out a lot. So I wanted to take advantage of the spring while it was available. And at every point I was looking at my computer like, you know, I could record another quick episode of Shiren. And then I would look outside and be like, oh, but the weather is so nice. So I'm afraid outdoor fun always trumped Shiren the Wanderer for the last few weeks. But it is getting hot again, and I do not really want to go outside today. So, lucky you, you get another episode of Shiren the Wanderer. What run am I on? I'm on run 6. That's right, exactly in the half. So this really was a midlife crisis in Shiren and in my regular life. Midlife crisis in your life, if you've ever seen the movie, is it called American Beauty with Kevin Spacey? I'm not a huge fan of that movie. That's the one where the pothead is like, oh, I saw the plastic bag blowing in the wind, the most beautiful thing ever. Oh my god, that movie just makes me roll my eyes because it's supposed to be really profound. But it is a great example of a midlife crisis. So most of my life I've been fairly conservative, I guess you'd say, or frugal with money because I have pretty simple needs. And then I just, for some reason, I saw this house and I was just like, I should spend all my money on it. You know, it'd be so fun just to like blow all the money I've saved on this enormous house and fix it up. Kind of a midlife crisis, so I don't want to suppress those feelings. Clearly I have some desire that's been suppressed all my life. Usually those come bubbling to the surface in a midlife crisis. So someone who's been really conservative and quiet might become really crazy and spend a lot of money as a part of their midlife crisis. And the opposite can happen. Someone who's been really freewheeling and laid back and kind of jumping around from romantic partnership to romantic partnership might be attracted to someone really sort of conservative and stable, and that might be their midlife crisis. I think something happens like that in Girls with the Australian girl. Can't believe I made that reference. Yes, I sometimes do watch Girls, okay? I don't always enjoy it, but sometimes I do enjoy it. Alright, I have 2 jars already. I think last episode I told you I was gonna start comparing women to jars, but that might have to wait. Let me see. Oh, lucky uncovering of a big landmine trap. This gold shield is worth a lot of money, but it really doesn't protect me that much, so I do have to be kind of careful. And Lena mentioned that Shiren is kind of about midlife crises. The characters, Gaibara and Naoki, when they go into their bonus dungeons, it's really kind of an expression of a midlife crisis, you know? They reach a point in their career when they feel like they're stuck in a rut, and so they do something different. And that's where I was in the talk-through. I was just kind of like, you know, kind of dying and face-found a puzzle a lot. Eventually I'm gonna win, but it just wasn't quite as fun anymore. And it's like, what am I gonna do? Buttersquid239 asks me, what are you gonna do once you're done with the talk-through? And I realized this is already kind of happening, but it's gonna become, alright, kind of a diary, I guess. It already is, pretty much. I mean, I talk a little bit about gaming still, but mostly I'm just like talking about the stuff I'm thinking about. So we are going to get back to gaming because gaming is a big part of my life and game design. But a lot of this is going to start heading towards kind of my day-to-day thoughts and things that are happening in my life. So it's going to be like a Shiren the Wanderer personal blog, I suppose. And I can totally understand if you're watching this and you're like, all I want to do is talk about Shiren the Wanderer. I'm not interested in your personal life, Doofy. So, yeah, if it gets super boring for you, yeah, I understand. I don't want to hear about the random ramblings of some internet gamer playing a roguelike any more than you do. So, I just want to warn you, that's kind of the direction it's going to be heading in. For a little while, at least. That house was so beautiful, though. Oh my gosh, 2 mines in 1 room. That's just evil. Evil! And now the rice changer comes in, and I do need rice balls. I'm just gonna paralyze it, try to get some HP back, and then I'll unparalyze it, try to get some rice balls. I got arrows at least to transform. Oh. Man. And there's that pickpocket that stole all my gold. And he got away. It's okay. I still got my gold shield if I really need some guidance. So, let's see. Bad news. Did not get enormous mansion by the ocean. Good news. Did get condo by the lake. So a bit of a downgrade. But I had to be realistic. That's what I can afford. And that's what will make me happy. Additional good news, I got my braces out finally. So, I still have to wear a retainer at night. I had Invisalign braces for a while. Not for cosmetic reasons, but because I had this one tooth that was pushed behind all of my others. Have you ever seen a shark's mouth? How they have like rows of teeth that are waiting to rotate up if one of their teeth ever falls out? That's the way I was. I had like a tooth behind all my other teeth that got pushed behind them, and it looked really weird. And I just never did anything about it because it didn't really bug me. But then it started causing me problems as far as tooth grinding and uneven wear and flossing and all this stuff. So I was just like, screw it, just pull that tooth out. So I pulled that tooth out and I had this huge gap in my teeth. So I said, screw it, I'll get braces in my late 30s like a friggin' teenager. So I was wearing braces for like a year and a half. And Invisalign braces are pretty cool. If you're thinking about getting them, they're expensive. But you can't snack, because every time you want to have a snack or drink anything other than water, you have to take them out, put them in their container, eat, brush your teeth, floss, clean them, put them back in. It's just too much of a hassle. So I stopped snacking altogether, which if you're on a diet or something would be fantastic, but I am not on a diet. So it just feels great to be able to just eat whenever I want, finally. And they work fantastic. All I have to do is wear a retainer at night, as I said. So hopefully my characteristic lisp will not be quite as apparent. That lisp is caused by the big gap in my teeth, by that one tooth that got kind of pushed behind all the others. So that's some good news. Also good news, I have a bunch of rice balls now, so I won't starve to death. Any other good news in my life? Oh, I have some bad news. It's really kind of minor. I went to see Avengers 2, and it was a big old disappointment. If you haven't seen it yet, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil anything. I will just say that the action scenes in Avengers 2 kind of drag. They kind of pull the movie down. They aren't... You know the action scene at the end of Iron Man 3 when he's like fighting all the suits? It's kind of like that in every action scene in the Avengers. It's not... You don't have any attachment to any of the participants in the battles, and there's never any real risk or question as to the outcome, so it's just kind of boring, you know? It's just like watching Rock'em Sock'em Robots for 20 straight minutes. And I really feel like Captain America 2 did a good job of keeping the fights a little more personal, a little more small scale. The choreography was a lot better. So Joss Whedon, amazing dialogue when the Avengers are just hanging out at a party or talking to each other or making wisecracks. I mean, nobody does that better than Whedon and makes it entertaining and funny. But he just cannot handle action. He needs to hire, or whoever's in charge, they need to hire another director to write all the action scenes and choreograph them. Because it's possible to make entertaining action that also builds a character. I mean, that develops a character. And it just didn't happen in this movie. So that was a real bummer. I was kind of looking forward to that movie. Another movie I was looking forward to that you've probably never heard of is a movie called Far From the Madding Crowd. I'm a big Thomas Hardy fan. Thomas Hardy is an English novelist who writes sort of tragic, bittersweet romances. Far From the Madding Crowd is one of the few books he wrote that has a somewhat happy ending, and it's one of my favorite novels. I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from this new movie they've made of it, because I like Carey Mulligan a lot, but I didn't feel like she was the right actress to play Bathsheba. Oh, and the main character in Far From the Madding Crowd's name is Bathsheba Everdeen, and the main character in Hunger Games is named Katniss Everdeen, and I believe the author of Hunger Games, I think her name is Collins, took that name from the character in Far From the Madding Crowd because she must be a big fan. So that's a nice, cool bit of trivia. But anyway, Far From the Madding Crowd actually was better than I was expecting. It's a little bit sped up. I wish it took its time a little bit more. I'm pretty patient when it comes to movies. But yeah, the guy playing Gabriel Oak did a great job. I think his name is like Schoenarts or something. But yeah, if you're looking for a good date movie and your girlfriend or boyfriend is into sort of period romances or Jane Austen, the Bronte sisters, that kind of stuff, or Thomas Hardy, of course. Yeah, you should check out Far From the Madding Crowd. It hasn't really been released wide, but it's frankly, I had a better time with that movie than I did at Avengers 2, which is very surprising to me. I also watched Ex Machina, and the critics are loving this movie. I thought it was a little shallow when it comes to ideas, but visually it's interesting. It's very stylized, minimalistic, so it's not very intelligent as far as actual science fiction ideas go, but as far as just visually how it looks and the initial setup, it's pretty interesting. It just kind of falls apart at the end. So, I watched some movies. I don't know, what am I at here? 15 minutes? I'll keep playing for a little bit. I don't want to really get into the comparison I was going to make with Women in Jars. So I'll save that for next episode. But I believe the last episode I was talking about what Shiren the Wanderer has to teach you about love. So one of the things it has to teach is not to give up. I think I ended the last Face Final Puzzle episode saying that if you got shot down, if you get rejected when you approach someone that you like, it's not the end of the world. It feels like the end of the world when you're young, but when you get to be a little older, just like, oh, okay, that's cool. That person's not available, not interested. I'm gonna move on. There's a lot more women in the universe, or men in the universe, or hermaphrodites in the universe, whatever kind of person you're interested in. And you're gonna meet somebody else who's compatible with you. I guarantee it. Unless you just shut yourself in your cave and never come out, which I hope you don't do. Alright, let's see here. Maybe I've got a monster scroll that would be so sweet. No, scroll of confusion. How about this one? Come on, monster scroll. Aha. Scroll of explosion. Not what I wanted. Alright. Time to be careful. I think I need to heal before I get to the next floor. Don't really have anything to use on this guy. Shall I move on, or shall I use my Cairo and take this guy out? Decisions, decisions. What shall I do? You know what? I think I shall conserve this crucial critical turn for next episode on Shiren the Wanderer. And I should be back on my regular weekly schedule now that the dreams of living in a mansion by the sea have been crushed. I'll see you then. Goodbye. Do you want to see the most difficult game ever filmed? It was one of those games when you're a turn away from dying. And there's this gaze on the floor. So I didn't get near it, right? And this polygonal man was just dancing.
And then I would look outside and be like, oh, but the weather is so nice.